To start from scratch. You're going to need to make a text style. So click on New, or use one you might already have, and choose the following font style: Arial Black. Okay, and make that your current font style. Your limits, I need them to be set to 0, 0 and 4, 3. Very small drawing. Your units, make sure they are decimal, and the precision doesn't matter. I'm going to go to 2 decimal places. Our grid settings, let's set them to 0.5 is appropriate. 0.5 is appropriate. Alright, so let's do a zoom to our limit. So zoom, enter, all enter. Okay, that's our workspace. Let's make a layer or two. First one will be called base. Keep it white with a thickness of 0. Let's make another new layer called initials. Let's make that yellow with 0. Let's make another one called 3D, and let's make that another color like cyan. Alright, let's place this on the base layer. Let's place our initials on the initials layer. Okay, so here's what I want you to create. With grid on and with snap on, draw a rectangle that's 2 by 1. In the center of that, let me delete this. Pick the multi-line text command, pick opposite corners of your rectangle, justification, middle center, with the height of 0.50, type in your initials in capital letters, and close the text editor. If you forget to put on the correct layer, you can move it now. Alright, in order to make a three-dimensional object, which is what we're going to do here, you have to be using different layers to make that happen. As you see in the first video, I kept forgetting to switch my layers, so I'll be more diligent about switching layers this time. So this is on the initials layer. This is on the base layer. I made a copy of this because I'm going to have to make it three-dimensional. We're going to use under Express Tools a command called Text Explode. Explode text, which is TXTEXP if you don't have this option up here. TXTEXP. Right, first things first. Let's use the extrude command on a closed shape. A closed shape is like a rectangle. To work in 3D, we had to change our environment of which we view. So let me click on that. I don't like that direction. Let's try that one. Or maybe that one. Okay, that's better. Alright, so we're going to extrude this rectangle down a distance of 1/16 of an inch. Alright, so click extrude, type in extrude, is the command, hit enter, select this object, enter. We're going to point down and type in 1/16 of an inch. Okay, we're going to do the same on the other one, but later. We're going to take your letters and extrude them up to create a illusion of depth, but that'll be coming in later. So this is a three-dimensional object. You can't really tell right now, but if I change this to one of these other settings, you will see it's three-dimensional. Okay? Unfortunately, the letters are not, so it's getting covered up a little bit, but don't worry about that. Okay? Alright, let's continue. Let's go back to home, or top. In order for us to do the same with letters, we need to first turn it into closed shapes, which this is not. So this will take a little bit of time. we're going to use this command here under Express Tools, or you can type in TXTEXP, and we're going to explode our text. Enter, and you'll see it explode into different polyline shapes. You see these? These are different shapes. So what you see here is AutoCAD made a random closed shapes matching whatever letter or type you have. So we got to make it look like closed shapes again. The first step is to trim. So pick trim, select everything we're working with, hit enter, and these lines are doubled, so start trimming them twice until they go away. Okay, so now everything's trimmed. After you trim everything, which might take a bit, make sure not to accidentally over trim, because you'll have to undo it and try again. If you have letters that are touching each other like this, move them apart. So pick on move. I'll select just the letter, right click. I took off my snap so I could just slightly move it over, but ortho should be on. So now they're equally spaced. It'd be wise to do the following. On the 0 layer, draw a line from one side to the other, opposite corners, and you could use this midpoint snap as a center, so it's on. We are going to offset these lines to create a outline of our letters before we go on to the next step. Let me create offsets of our letters to create an outline of our shape of our initials before we actually extrude our initials into 3D. Our offset distance will be 1/16 of an inch. So offset, distance is 1/16, enter. Pick one of your polyline shapes and pick outside of it, and keep doing that for all the little features of our shape. There might be some little ones there we need to look for. Hopefully they won't be that difficult for us, or we can close those shapes in later. There we go. So this one looks like it's ready. I can delete those errors. Let's do the letter A. They don't connect, but don't worry about that. The other letter R. Hit enter. Let's clean it up a bit. You could use things like the fillet command to close these up. You could set the fillet radius to 0, for example, and then pick these two lines to bring them together. You could also do that here, actually. Fillet, pick these two, and it'll make a fillet and make the other two disappear. Or you can trim them. Fillet will not work for this, I don't think. Let's try and see. It does, so that's helpful. Let's see if it works over here. That was convenient. So let's use that. Fillet. Whoops, don't pick the wrong two lines. Fillet. Yay, that's cool. I forgot to offset the letter R over here. Actually, I did, but when I filleted this part, it made the other half disappear. If that happens to you, you need to re-offset these shapes again back out. So there's some conveniences and some inconveniences at the same time. So maybe trim would be better. More trimming now needs to be done for here. But you can see what we're trying to do here. We're trying to create an outline around your initials. So take the time to do that. Each of us will have different situations based on our initials. Sometimes trim isn't as convenient as the others, but here we go. So almost finished. I need to erase unwanted features and close up certain gaps. To do that, I think the easiest thing to do is just to pick the grips and attach them to each other. They'll be so close to each other, no one would know. So there is our outline. Alright. How to make closed shapes. Let me remove this line temporarily. We'll draw it back later. Alright, let's make some closed shapes. The command is called boundary. So type in boundary. And what this does is it looks for closed shape patterns from existing polylines and other features. So I'll click on pick points right here and just click at a space, and it's going to try and find an outline, which I think it did. Alright, hit enter, and it created one giant outline, which is very helpful. Do that for your exterior outline and for all of your letters. I did forget to say something. It's going to make that outline on the layer that's current. And I did that on the 0 layer. I should have been smart and did it on the layer I'm going to be using later on. I'm going to be using, for example, the 3D layer. So I should have made that current before I did the boundary command. Then type in boundary, pick points. I'll pick this one first, hit enter. Now I know you can't see it, but it's there and it's cyan, it's behind the yellow one. You can see a bit of it here. Alright, let's do another boundary. We're going to hopefully be able to boundary all of our letters without any problem. It might cause problems though, but there's ways to fix those, so don't worry about that. Okay, boundary, pick points. Let's try the R. Enter. It worked. Boundary, pick the inside of the R. Enter. Okay. Boundary, the interior of the R. Enter. Boundary, the interior of the R. That little hole. Enter. Boundary, the A. Enter. The boundary, the triangular shape in the A. Enter. Alright? So now we have a whole bunch of polylines created from the boundary command. What it does is making us closed shapes that we can use for extruding purposes. Let me turn off the 3D layer to show you that the two-dimensional yellow lines are still here, and let me turn off the initials layer and turn on the 3D layer so you can see that these are also here. Okay?